Manifest TV.
Hey, bless it, make it, take it, track it, don't mess it. Yes, my name is Matt.K Mulumba, aka Matt.K, and I'm going to be your host for a brand new show right here on Manifest TV called Let's Talk Creatives. That's right, we're going to be talking creatives, and we're going to be visiting creatives in all walks of life. I mean, we're going to be talking about creativity from the content creators to the creative spaces. In this show, we have creatively tailor-made our content not only to entertain, but to also teach, educate, inform, and also challenge. So come with me on a journey of entertainment, a journey of information, a journey of history in creativity. We will be having segments like the nugget in history, the history in the making of everything creatives in the different aspects of the creative processes. I will be having also with me on stage distinguished guests from all walks of life. I mean, from the cinematography kind of field, photography, advertisement, music, say it, think it, we have it for you right here. And today on set, I am not alone. So I would love to invite you to journey with me as we welcome a very amazing man of God. So he is a creative artist, and I'll let him have his say. Sir, you're welcome.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, kindly introduce yourself to our congregation.
Yes, all the viewers of Manifest TV, my name is Kajambiya from Kajambiya Music. I'm a gospel minister, and I'm so privileged to be on your set today.
Awesome. That's Minister Kajambiya. I mean, he has created quite of the remarkable hits that you love to dance to, enjoy, sing after, and mimic. So, Mr. Kajambiya, I have a couple of questions for you.
Yes,
and on this show, we really want to get to know the content creators and the content they've created that the people out there so love and enjoy.
Yes,
so we're going to have to dig into you. So if you allow yourself to open up and let us know, who is Kajambiya?
Who is Kajambiya? Yes. Okay, that is a very broad question, but Kajambiya is a gospel minister. My name is Jovan Sebagala Sajamuganda. Yes, that's the name my parents gave me.
That's right.
And Kajambiya is my ministry name. And you haven't asked this question, but probably I'll go ahead and answer it, because I think of all the interviews I've done, it's the question that I've been asked the biggest number of times. For example, for starters, my name scares people.
Because?
Yeah, so somebody has Kajambiya and is a gospel minister. They're like, what is the meaning of Kajambiya? But yeah, Kajambiya is, Kajambiya comes from Hebrews chapter 4 verse 12. Which says the word of God is quick and active and sharper than a double-edged sword.
That's right.
Yeah, so Kajambiya, of course someone would say, why did you call it Chitala or Chiso? But I mean, I wanted to translate that, but also make it a bit artistic and easy for people to relate with. So that's Kajambiya as a minister. So by calling, I'm a gospel minister, but I am... by profession, I'm a software engineer by profession.
Oh, wow.
So if I'm not in the studio or on the stage ministering, I'm behind the computer writing code.
You're a coder?
Yes,
That
sir.
makes the two of us.
Maybe we shall share more after this.
Oh, that's for sure.
Okay.
So, Mr. Kajambiya, tell us, what inspires you?
Inspires me to musically.
To music, to create.
Yeah.
Since we're talking about creativity and your craft, so what inspires you, what inspired you to do and start what you're doing?
Yeah, so I think when it comes to, I think I'll answer that question in two ways. What inspired me to start doing what I do, and then maybe what inspires me to create the content that I create. To do what I do, I think from the moment every child is born, they are set on a journey to discover themselves. and I wasn't any different. I remember from a very young stage, I loved music. I didn't live to see my dad a lot. My dad died when I was 4.
Oh, sorry.
But I could tell that he was a lover of music. In the home where we grew up, there was a lot of audio cassette tapes, those vinyl discs. And so we used to love music. I remember at some point when we were growing up, me and my kid brother, when we'd be having lunch, sometimes our kids are funny when it comes to eating. They don't want to eat. And I remember our mom used to give us a challenge that if you finish your food, I'll put in music and we dance. And that was an inspiration. But I think in there, my journey was being shaped. So I loved music a lot. I loved to dance throughout school. But until I joined my senior one. Now, when I joined senior one, that's when I think it's because of the space I was. I went to St. Henry's College, Chitovu, and I met guys. That's why I met people like Kopi Bly. So I met guys that also like to create.
Is your hobby?
Yes, it's my hobby.
That's what's
in the
up.
same class. So that's when I discovered now the gift that I can actually compose. And that's where my journey starts. So we started to write music and we would sing on school, talent shows. And of course, later on, by the time I got to senior 3, I would give my life to Christ. And so basically, that's how I discover myself. And that's when I started creating music. But then, of course, the journey is longer. There's a lot in there, maybe, if you ask. But then the other bit would be what inspires me to for example, write the music that I write. Because I've had people tell me, one time someone that is very dear to me was making fun of me that it looks like all my inspiration is about violence. Bullets, like films and all that.
Oh, wow.
But so for me, like I always tell people, I never wake up any single day and I say today I'm going to write a song. It never happens. But my inspiration always comes either when I'm studying the word. Sometimes I can be seated in church in the middle of a sermon.
Oh, wow.
And the preacher says something. And all of a sudden, a certain revelation hits and lyrics start to flow. And I just can't wait to get out of church and just start to compose.
I see.
So that's, and if you're keen to listen to my music, it's mainly about the word. So I'm just inspired by the word. So it's either I'm listening to someone, I'm studying the word. And the rest of how it transforms into lyrics, I think that's a gift by God that I cannot explain.
Wow. Well, speaking about inspiration, and since we've taken the journey into that direction, one of the he was called the fountain of wisdom. He's called Henry Mattis. He said that don't wait for inspiration. It comes while you're working.
That's right.
Yeah?
That's right.
So I find that a bit intriguing. So kindly take us through the process of your productive journey. How do you produce the intricate details of how do you start from the writing? Like you've of course told us it's revelation for you.
Yeah.
So when does it come from revelation to the training, the practice, knowing in your head that this is how I want it to turn out to be, to the studio, the beats, what informs the beats, and things like that, the records that you've produced so far?
Yeah, so that's an interesting one. And so, for example, I'll give an example. I've just mentioned, I'm just going to give an example of a song like Bullet. Because somehow it's dear to me, because the Bullet, the song, comes from the same scripture from which I get the inspiration for my name. And so I'm studying this scripture. The word of God is quick and active, is sharper than any double-edged sword, to the separating of soul and spirit, bone and marrow. And I'm looking at the power of the word. And in there, when you go to 13, you start to realize that actually the word has eyes. And so I'm just meditating on this word, and it's so beautiful. When I'm starting to think about, for example, you see, there is a thin line. Okay, so it may not be so thin, but actually sometimes people can fail to separate spirit and soul. But then when it comes to bone and marrow, there is a very thin line between bone and marrow.
Take us deeper.
And so the scripture is saying, like, the word is that sharp that it separates bone and marrow.
That's right.
And so I'm intrigued by this this revelation. And as I'm meditating on this word, like, you know, when you're meditating, okay, I don't know, maybe I could be different, but you may never know.
I mean, even the way you said the word meditating, I feel like I'm there already.
That's right. So you may never know where your spirit is going to end up. So you're just taken on this journey. So I'm taken on this journey, and I'm starting to think that the writer of Hebrews, let me say Paul, as he's writing this, he's thinking, he's looking at the power of the word, and he's trying to look at the weapon of warfare in their time, which was mainly the sword. And so he's comparing this sword to a sword. And then I kind of tried to translate into our time. And I'm like, what is the weapon of warfare? And I thought of a gun. And I'm like, if this is what the Bible talks about the word, and now we've put on this light and we've become the word. And so I'm like, okay, it means that I could be even powerful, more powerful than a gun. So now all these are my meditation. No, these are still.
We are in your process.
Yes.
Thought process. Yes.
Yeah. So I start to think. Now I start to think of a bullet, and I've ever done service training. Like, I've ever done a short military course, so I know how to operate an AK-47. So I'm starting to think how dangerous a bullet can be. You see, a bullet, when it's just in a magazine or it's just down there, it may not be that dangerous. But when a gun is cocked, the bullet goes into the chamber.
That's right.
So that means the moment you hit the trigger, it's ready to shoot. So I'm like, okay, now it's like I'm like that bullet at that point. So the first line that I got in that song, Bullet, was that line, we are like a bullet in a chamber. So as I'm meditating, that line came with the rhythm and flow. So I just got that line, we are like a bullet in a chamber. And that was it. The rest, everything just kept falling in line, like as you start to think. So I wrote that, it's like a bridge of sorts. Then before you know it, the chorus came. And so what happens is, many times I do not write a song in one day. So it's just like when you're studying the Bible and you say, maybe I'm studying the book of Psalms. Sometimes you open your Bible and you're like, today I want to read like 10 chapters. You read 2 verses and you're knocked out and you just can't. So maybe you end it there and then you come that following day. So you write. I could have written like 3, 4, 5 lines. And then I went about my business. But now once I start on a song, like it's like a project has opened, it will be everywhere. Sometimes I can be in my car. Now a song like Ululeta, I was just seated in my car and I was in traffic jam. And I'm like, but God I was just thinking about the goodness of God. And before you know it, I'm like, I just found myself ululating. Then, okay.
Do you have a particular manner? Was it an alarm?
Yes, I just related like wololo and you see, so and I'm like, so because in that moment when I ululated, now that's where the lyrics come from. That like we can't find the words to express the goodness of God. That's why we find ourselves ululating. So back to the journey. So once I do that, the lyrics start to come along, and of course there are very many ways of creating. Sometimes when I get that, I straight go into studio. Sometimes I can just get a few lines or I get a chorus and I go to studio. Now there is something that happens in this, like when everything is right, the vibe is right. Sometimes the producer starts to make the beat and then the other things start to fall in line. But now for a song like Bullet, by the time I went to studio, almost everything was done. So you start to write, you start on that journey of writing. So now you go, sometimes you feel you're ready. And of course, as you progress in composing music, because these days, they even I have a new song coming out with a friend of mine called Fortune Spice. We just went to studio.
Man, I like that guy.
He's one of my best writers. He's a very talented guy. So we just found ourselves in studio because we knew we had, for years we knew we had to do a project. And that's why even if you look at my collaborations, I love working with spirit-led people. So we had talked about it over time that we need to work on a project and all that. And we knew it had to happen at some point. Until when everything was right and spiritually we felt this was the time we were like, let's just hit studio. So we enter studio. As we're there in studio, you try to think, then before you know it, you have the chorus. And then as the producer makes the beat, then you start to write. Because already from the chorus, you have the revelation direction of where the song is going to go. You start making the beat, you start to write. And like how the lyrics come, that I may not be able to explain. But basically, that's how the journey starts. So the producer makes the beat, you record the vocals. And personally, I'm a perfectionist. So I'll get that piece, I go home, I listen to it. Actually, for me, most of the times when I record the first time, I do not add any ad-libs and backups. So I go and listen to the song and I'll be like, you know, there are sometimes I be home, because I can have a song for like 3 or 4 years without releasing it.
Oh, wow.
But sometimes, I remember like a song like Film Star. It was fully done. One time I was listening to it at home. Just one line, 2 words like this. I'm like, we need a backup here. And I drove to studio just to put that backup. Yeah. But of course, that's the journey until you feel that the song is now fully done. Personally, these days I love working with mixing engineers. Because I know producers, there's so much they can do, but there are guys that have just studied sound. So once the song is ready, we take it to a mixing and mastering engineer. And then we wait for the spirit to tell us when to release it. Yes.
That's what's up.
That's the journey.
Well, there is that song. I wanted us to go a bit into your song. That one of Film Star.
Yes.
You mentioned.
Yes.
At the end, you know, at the end, some lines you pull there is you say "Katandika utandisi" at the end, and then you say "Let's catch you in part 2."
Yes.
So
yes.
the title of that song was Film Star, right?
Yes.
So the next sequel to it, will it be called Film Story? What are you going to call it?
No, actually, Film Star, there's a friend of mine, I won't tell the viewers, but they've been on my case for part 2, because I promised people part
I've always
2.
wanted to ask this question, by the way.
Yeah, I promised people part 2. So all viewers, be rest assured, part 2 is coming very soon.
This year?
No, I don't want to. I don't want to make promises, but I want to promise you that there is a part 2 to Film Star. Actually, there's a song I'm writing that is going to be a series. I think it's going to be the first of its kind. I'm going to write a song that is going to have season 1, episode 1, and then we have season 2. Because it's. Should I tell people?
This is the platform, man of God.
Yeah, I have a song called Omulembe Gwazabuli, and when I got the revelation, it was supposed to be just one song. And because I was reading the Psalms, and I don't know that people enjoy reading the Psalms like I do. So, and it was just interesting, and I'm like, you know what, we need to get something out of these Psalms. So I started to write lyrics. And I realized, by the time the song was done, I realized that I had only written from Psalms 23 and Psalms 115. And even those Psalms, it was just a bit of it. I'm like, there is too much to still write. So it's going to be a series.
In the creative space, it's the first time I've heard of a musician creating songs in episodes or in series.
I've also never heard it.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to that. So also we would want to know what role has technology played in promoting your music brand?
Yeah, I think we are in an age where we are, of course, we can't escape technology, and the faster you dig in, the better. So we are evolving as technology evolves. And yeah, for example, I remember those days before some of us even started to sing, how people, you release a song, you put it on a CD, you start walking from radio station to radio station. Every video.
And those were hustle days, eh?
Yes, the hustle
days. By
days.
the time your song is airing on the radio, yeah, you've gone through, you've made calls, you've put in transport.
Yes, and you can imagine for like how the journey was for an upcoming artist. So you can imagine for someone that was just starting out, yeah, your brand is not established yet, and you have to go out there. People don't know, you have to convince them. It was hard, but still people used to make it. But we are in an age where, for example, the social media age, where like you can literally create an audience, a fan base, influence, as long as you have the right strategies. You create everything online. And then we have digital streaming platforms, because you can imagine that right now, and I get reports from like Apple Music, Spotify, and every week people from all over the world are listening to my music, and I don't know if there wasn't an advancement of technology. I don't know. For example, sometimes I'm seeing people from China, places like Kingado, like very many parts of the world, and I'm thinking, if it wasn't for technology, when would I ever have taken my music to such places?
That's right.
So I think technology is playing a very big role in the media space right now.
Yeah. Okay, speaking again more into that line, have you had any collaborations? And how have you come by those kind of collaborations?
By collaborations, you mean like with
other artists?
Okay, there is just one gentleman from Kenya, and yeah, I hope people don't call it pride, but I always love to be led. So if I feel right,
that's the way of a Christian man.
Yeah. So there is just one person so far that I've worked with. He's from Kenya. He reached out to me, and he liked what I was doing, and then we managed to do a song. And it's very amazing when you listen at the piece. It's a very beautiful piece, but it's interesting to know that, okay, the song was produced in Kenya. He voiced his part. They sent the data. I voiced my parts from Uganda. Then I sent back, and the whole song was put together. And when you listen to the song, it's just a good piece fused together. But actually, these are people in different countries, and that's what technology can do.
Is it out yet?
No, it's not yet.
Oh, I can't wait. I can't wait.
It's very beautiful.
Well, our dear viewers, this is Mr. Kajambiya, and so far that's his journey that he has undertaken to becoming who he is today. So we would like to go a bit further into this discussion. So we're going to take a commercial break, and we'll be right back after these messages.
Welcome to Uketa Learning, an online learning platform where we focus on you and your development. We have partnered with local experts in Uganda to curate courses. At Uketa, you get lifetime access to every course that you purchase. Our courses are self-paced, meaning you get to study at your own time, and for each course that you successfully complete, you will also be able to get a certificate from this university.
Welcome to Bake For Me Limited, the leading destination for irresistible delicacy in cake and expert baking education, with our capacity to produce a wide array of cakes in different flavors like chocolate, vanilla, red velvet cake, banana, strawberry, and others each day. We cater to every craving, function, and celebration, with our branches conveniently located in different areas in Kololo, Nalia, Nankulabe, Kajansi, and Bunga. Our commitment to quality and customer care is unmatched. At Bake For Me Limited, we don't just bake cakes, we craft experiences. Experience the Bake For Me Limited difference today. For more information, call or WhatsApp us on 0701 501 987 or 0758 454 850. Bake For Me Limited, where every bite is a celebration.
Future yo. Prudent life is there for you. Future yo. Okweli nasibuti, cause life is a journey, twisting and turning. Prudent life's got you. Olino kufuwa kukwasaganya future yo nabantu. There's no worries tomorrow. Prudential is your friend.
Don't leave your family's financial future to chance. Choose the Prudent Life Plan from Prudential Uganda.
Prudential. Let's live life together. Turinawe. Prudential is regulated by the Insurance Regulatory Authority.
Friends, to our nugget in history as per the topic of discussion today in our exploration of the captivating journey of the Christian reggae dancehall music. The genre first appeared in the mainstream radar in the mid to late 1970s and was initially referred to as bashment music. Artists infused the pulsating rhythms of energetic melodies of dancehall with lyrics that celebrated faith, hope, and the teachings of Jesus Christ. In Uganda, we originally didn't have this kind of genre, but we had worship ministers like Robert Senyonga, Grace Morgan, Bettina Chibuka, and Bettina Maganda, among others. After which, we saw a new rise of another unique style spearheaded by Martin Seku in the early 2000s in songs like Silitia, Kone Ndongo ya Yesu, and others like Exodus, Morgan Isaac. Currently, artists like Zabuli and Kupi Bly, Fortune Spice, and many more dominate this landscape. Thank you for joining us in this uplifting journey in our history nugget for today. Yes, bless it, make it, take it, track it, don't mess it. Welcome back, our dear viewers, to our second segment of the show. And in studio, we have Minister Kajambiya right here with us, and he's doing reggae dancehall, and that's his genre. So we are interviewing him, and we wanted to find out about his journey in the creative space of the music artistry. So, Minister Kajambiya,
Listen.
Like I told you, we're going to be having a bit of a challenge in this show. And in this second segment, I know it's not as long as the first, but it's creativity, because creativity comes with a lot of brain usage. You have to use your mind, right?
Yes,
so
sir.
I have a cube for you, Mr. Kajambiya. And this challenge here, while we are having the show,
Yes.
you're expected to complete it. So if you want to give it a try.
Is this a setup to embarrass me before?
No. It's a setup to see your creativity.
I think it's the last time I held a Rubik's Cube in my hands should be like 8 years ago.
But you've held it before.
Yeah, but...
That's a kudos to you.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, we wanted to know, I had a question about the music that Ugandans produce versus the music that is produced out there. And you hinted on having collaborated with someone from Kenya.
That's right.
If you look at the musical landscape of this nation, rarely do you ever hear that a musician has collaborated with an international artist. Rarely. I've not really heard it. You know, for example, let's go to Nigeria. You see Nigerian gospel artists, collaborating with Americans, and they are collaborating with people from Europe of the same in the gospel industry. In Uganda, that's really not, if it's there, it's unheard of. What do you think is the challenge?
No, I think, and these are conversations I've had. These are conversations I've had with some people especially in our space. Yeah, but I think, for example, Vixen has done a song with someone from Rwanda, someone from Malawi. Actually, they also have a song. I might be spilling beans, but yeah.
Yeah, these are sweet beans then.
Yes, yeah, I know he has a song with Pompey that doesn't yet come out yet.
Wow.
Yeah, but I think for me, where I can put that is the state of our industry in general. And I've had these conversations with many people. When you look at, before we even go to collaborations, if we are to look at the Nigerian gospel industry, actually you don't have to go far, just go to our church altars. It's very hard to finish a service, and in the whole praise and worship, there hasn't been a song of a popular gospel minister from Nigeria.
That's right.
So that shows you the level their industry right now is at. And it's really a lot of things. How they've given themselves to the word, how they've they've understood the creative space, but for me it's more how they are yielded to the Spirit, because most of these things are way more than canon. So for me, I think before we go into collaborating with international artists, I think as the gospel industry of Uganda, we need to create a certain sound. You see, God, I believe that there's a way when God brings up or introduces a person, like no matter what you do, it's inevitable. You can't avoid them. I had a conversation with Moses Bliss, and he recorded his first song in 2014, and his breakthrough song came in 2019.
Oh wow!
Yeah, and in there, he took me through a journey where he had to go and sit in his church just to play piano. When the people he used to sing with he belonged to a certain band, but the people he used to sing with in that band, like the moment his pastor called him that come and sit in my church and play piano, and this is a village church. The band, they got a gig. The first gig was in the UK.
Oh wow!
The second gig was, I think, in Dubai, and so people are sending him screenshots from the pictures the friends are posting on Facebook, and they're asking him, "Did you really hear God?"
Oh wow!
You get my point. It was a tricky time.
That's a challenge.
But you see, in all that space, God was training him. So 2019, he gets his breakthrough song, "You're Too Faithful to Fail Me." But trust me, from 2019, like
to date,
I mean,
yeah,
he's just releasing hit after hit.
Oh yeah.
And so I think as the gospel, and you see in Nigeria, you can mention many artists. So Moses Bliss is just an example, but you'll mention names like Dancing Oekan, Mercy, Chino, like the Theophilas. There are very many guys, and they're all hitting it from that level. The Minister GUCs. And right now in Uganda, I don't think we are yet there. So until you create a certain sound in this, because the sound the likes of Moses Bliss have created, you can't ignore it.
That's
so
true.
Even the international
Absolutely.
people, they'll come for it. So I believe for Uganda, we just first need to get to that level. We need to first create a certain sound before now the international collabos can come.
So if we need to create a certain sound, and you said we are not yet there.
Yes.
Where do you think we are as a nation?
As a nation, and you see, the good. I love it that this is a gospel show, because sometimes when I'm hosted on secular stations, some of the things are very hard to explain. I believe there are things we need to still understand. For example, and I hope fellow ministers out there that are watching me can really put this into consideration. When you talk to some of those Nigerian ministers, there are things that should be basic principles for a minister of the gospel that we don't have here. I'll just give a few examples. Number one, submission.
Submission.
So you start to follow, you look at the synarchies, you start to mention name after name, and all of them you can trace them to their spiritual authorities.
So which means our Ugandan crowd of artists, some of them are not submitted, right? Some
of them are not. So, so you do not serve anywhere you do not have spiritual authority. It becomes a bit hard. So that's number one. The principle of honor. Those you talk to those men of God, no matter how high they are, but they are very respectful. The way they honor other anointings. That's another thing. Number three, giving ourselves to the word. I'll tell you that one time a friend of mine was a pastor, he was just sharing with me and was telling me that for him, no matter the amount of time you give him on a pulpit, he will use it. Rather give him an hour or 5 minutes. And one time the Spirit of God was ministering to me and was telling me that, do you know that you have the same mandate as a pastor, as an evangelist, as a prophet? And I'm thinking, but I'm on stage for just 5 minutes. But you see, we have the same exact mandate. Like in those 5 minutes, God has given you to carry the same authority that a man that has speech for an hour carries.
Right.
So one other thing, why I had to bring that build up to that, is giving ourselves to the word. It's a sad reality, and I'm not excluding myself. I'm also still a work in progress. But I'm telling you, there are very few of our gospel ministers that you can put on a pulpit and tell them, today you are not going to sing, just share the word. From my journey, one of the things I've learned is there are two things. There is a gift and there is the spirit. The Bible says the gifts of God are without repentance. So every secular artist you can think of in the world is gifted. So they operate on the gift. Now the difference between me and a secular artist is that beyond the gift, I have the spirit. Yeah, so I think that's another thing. In us trying to produce that sound, we need to go beyond the gift to the spirit. And how can we yield to the spirit is by taking time to study and yield ourselves to the word. That for me, not to boast, but I'll be honest with you that even if you don't give me a platform to sing and you tell me that today we just want you to share and preach, I'll preach, because day by day I'm just teaching myself to be a student of the word.
That's right.
And I think and from the studies I've made of all these big gospel ministers we look up to, that's the journey they've taken. So I believe until we take some of those steps, we shall not.
Well, our dear viewers, I guess you can hear what Kajambiya has to bring to the discussion. He has said the principle of submission, the principle of honor, and giving yourself to the word are the things that have worked for him from where he started to where he is currently. And Minister Kajambiya, I've remembered something. There is a lady called Sylvia Plath. She said that the enemy to creativity is self-doubt. How have you dealt with the creative blocks you've had along the way?
This is interesting. I'll give you an example. It's okay, sometimes it can be with a person, but sometimes it can be the people around you that might cause you to doubt yourself.
The people around you.
Yeah, but I'll give an example from personal experience, and this is why I would encourage for anyone that is in our space. If you say that I'm a gospel minister, if you're just a musician or a motivational musician, it's very fine.
I remember one time, a dear friend of mine one day invited me on his set.
Okay.
To do a song. Sorry to cut you short, but
Yes.
I just remember. I think that was about 2012.
Okay.
You know, he had a CD of 7 songs. We went on set. He started doing the thing, and we were in the people behind, you know, trying to cheer him, trying to fill up the frame, and at the end of the day, I remember, sorry to say, I was among the people that said, your music is not going to go anywhere. Because, you know, I'd watched music videos and Christian music videos, and it was a joke. And up to today, that video never came out.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I feel you. And honestly, because I've also met people. You see, it's one, and that's why it's good to discover yourself.
Oh, yeah.
You know, sometimes there are things we love. You might find yourself that you love music a lot, you can dance to music and all that, which is a good thing. But for some people, they tend to think, because I love music a lot, maybe I can do music. And so now that's another thing. So there are people where it's genuine. They love the thing,
but they know themselves that they can do it.
Yeah, for them, they are convinced that they can do it, but it's not there. So that's a different category.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about someone who has the gift, but then sometimes you can self-doubt yourself. So what I was saying is, if you're really a gospel minister, it's always good to hear God.
Good to hear God.
Because for me, I remember, actually recently, I was just remembering a conversation I had with my kid brother should have been 2014. We were just praying in the morning. And after praying, I told him, man, the Spirit told me something beautiful. You know, I have, I don't know how to describe my voice, but it's a bit of a coarse voice and all that. And I told him, the Spirit just told me that he's actually in love with my voice and my voice would worship. This is 2014, so my first song comes out in 2017.
How lovely.
So the it's very important that you hear God, because even why I started Kajambiya music in 2017, it was good because I knew how to sing from very many years ago, and there's even a time I wanted to record music and God told me first wait. So all those things are important. Me, I have an experience of someone where I went and they told me that they listened to my song, the first song, Bullet. It was even before it was out, but it was an opportunity to take it to a radio station before the song is officially out. So that by the time it's out, they already have it. And this is a station I grew up listening to. It was one of the best urban gospel stations we had. And the person that was receiving music listens to a song for like 30 seconds and he tells me, sorry, you're not going to take this song.
Oh, wow. Any reasons given?
Yeah, because me, I love to improve and learn. So I told him, okay, what could be the issue that I can work on to improve? He's like, no, there's no issue with the song, but I just don't feel it's for our audience. And now that's where the self-doubt comes in. So we'll be like, if the station I've been listening to all my life can't take my music, then that means there's something wrong. Guess what? I remember getting out of that studio and I said, God, between you and this man, one of you is true. So you are either true or this man is true. But for the far I have moved with you, I know you are true. Now, what could have caused self-doubt? For me, it was actually motivation. I remember getting out of that place and I'm like, no, whatever this man has said is not my story. And guess what? The day I announced that my song is out, someone from another good urban radio station reached out to me on my Facebook. Is like, send this song to this email address,
Oh, wow.
And then to make matters worse, they asked me, are you free this evening? Can you come and perform?
Oh, yeah.
This is the man that hasn't heard me sing.
Oh, wow.
But so that's my journey. And guess what? A few weeks later, the other station, I think like it was 1.5 months, the other station where someone told, of course it wasn't representing the station, it was just a personal opinion, but the person that told me that they want to receive my music. Funny as good, interesting as God can be, that person had a show.
See God.
That person had a show they were working on. And for some rare reason, because this show happens used to happen in the afternoon, it's no longer at that station. People were requesting for that song on that show. And of course, it's interesting. For him, he didn't remember. He didn't remember me. He didn't remember the song. He chased and know that. People were asking for that song to the extent that he one time he was on air and was like, whoever knows Kajambiya, tell him to bring that song. Yeah, so it was really interesting. Of course, right now that radio station plays my music. But when it comes to self-doubt, it's very important that you had God. Because for me, in moments and assignments where I had God, I don't care what happens. I want God to be true and every man a liar.
Watch this, watch this.
Yes.
Well, Mr. Kajambiya, can you kindly tell us, what's your typical day like? Besides music, besides coding, what are you into? What helps you blow up some steam? My
typical day. Okay, you've asked the trickiest question. Because you asked for my typical day, and then you remove music and coding.
Yeah, I have to remove it there because we will need to know more about it.
Yeah, but if you have to remove music and coding, the things I normally do for fun, I love to play soccer. So
there are two kind of soccer players: the pitch players and the PS players.
No,
which are you?
Okay, I do both, but I'm mainly on the field. I'm mainly on the field.
I see.
Yeah, so I play soccer. Depending on how busy I am, if it's not a very busy week, I actually make an effort to play 3 days a week. Then I also go to the gym. I love keeping in shape.
I see.
So I think in a typical day when I'm not writing music or in studio recording, when I'm not on my PC writing code, those are the other things you'll find me doing. I'm still a work in progress, but I love to read. I love to read books. There's just a power in reading and knowledge.
There's a power.
So those are the other things apart from music and code.
In a few words, kindly talk to the audience and help someone out there who wants to, undertake this journey and they want to also discover themselves. Which words can you give to them such that they can go with them home?
Yeah, so for someone that is out there, it's important because, for example, Kajambiya is a musician, and maybe you love his music, but that's not a guarantee or a given that every one of us is supposed to be a musician. So I think everyone, because God has created all of us uniquely, I think it is important that every one of us goes on a journey specifically to discover themselves. I've given my journey, and this is something I'll also say to parents, because as parents we have an obligation to nurture our children, because we see them from a young stage. You can already tell that this is the direction this child is going into.
Yeah.
So if you see your child loves kicking things around, maybe he wants to be a soccer player.
Yeah,
so I think we can also
until they kick your TV.
Yes, I think we can also encourage them in that particular journey. But it's really a journey of self-discovery. So it's not, you can never be a copy of someone else.
That's right.
Like even if it's in music, so for example, if Kajambiya is doing raga, reggae, dancehall, maybe for you're supposed to be doing Afrobeats or soul, R&B. So it's one thing, maybe as I conclude this, one of the things that I've discovered on this journey is that whatever God created me to be was always in the inside of me from day one. So it's about me to dig it out. So on that journey of self-discovery, you can be inspired by people, but don't let them shape and define your journey. So as you start to discover that, maybe, because you start to see things, even things like colors, you just realize that, I think I love blue more than yellow. So as you start to discover these, just start to search deep within, and in there is an answer to self-discovery.
And the colors in your hand?
The colors in my hand, red was almost.
Well, this is Let's Talk Creatives, and here this is Artistry Beyond Boundaries. Ladies and gentlemen, that has been Kajambiya for you. That has been his journey. If you're inspired and you happen to be on our socials, kindly reach out to us in the comments below, and we will see them. Yes, Let's Talk Creatives is a show that is going to be bringing to you all other sorts of creatives in the creative spaces they're in, and then we'll have a nugget in history, and also, just like I said at the beginning of the show, that we will be having a riddle me session. So here is the riddle for today. Are you ready? All right. The riddle for today goes as, what waters are sometimes sweet and sometimes bitter? What waters are sometimes sweet and sometimes bitter? Yes, you can go right ahead and answer that. I will also be giving you the answers in the preceding shows, just to know what kind of waters you got right. So that has been today's show. Thank you for tuning in. Tune in with us the same time, the same day, and we love you all. God bless you, and bye-bye.